Hello everybody, it's Kate Quinn from Fabrikated Quilts. So I am here representing Sew Steady and Westalee Design. I absolutely love these products by Leonie West, and they are just so fun and amazing. And today we're going to explore this miniature Baptist fan template set. So right there, just on the cover, you can see there's some really cute designs. See if we can get them nice and centered for you. But there's lots to learn. So let me open this up really quick. And you can see that she shows the basic Baptist fan design. And that's really a great design. I use it a lot. I think it's fantastic. But it doesn't show you the power of what these templates can do. So we're going to do a few different designs, and we're going to show you how you can plan for them and space them. And to start off, the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to show you the templates themselves. So let me put these up on the screen. Got green today. Let's see if we can make our thing a little brighter here. Give you guys a little more light. All right, so here are the templates. I like to put them on something so you can see some of the markings. And you can see they're different sizes, and the way they work is there's 2 channels on each one. So you can sew on the inside of this one and then on the outside. And that'll give you 2 different sizes. So each one has 2 different sizes except for the baby. So let's bring the baby over here. The baby has this tiny little circle right here as well. And that'll let you make the smallest inner circle. And I won't lie to you, I hardly ever use that. I like the nice openness of the center if you use this one. So I very rarely use this one, but it's there. It's there as a choice if you want that. And so now that we've shown you the templates, I'm going to stick them on my fantastic, fabulous ruler rack right here so that they'll be handy when we need them. All right, who's ready for Easter dinner or holiday dinner this weekend? Anybody got any special plans? We're cooking at home, so that's what we'll be doing. Honey has got some fabulous ribs. So I'm going to just scoot this out of the way real quick. And I'm going to talk to you about how to know what is what with this template. So in the packaging, it says that the largest size for the Baptist fan curve is 2 1/4. So that does not look like 2 1/4 to me. That looks pretty big. Look at, there's my hand, right? It's actually 2 1/4 inches tall. Right? And of course, we talked about the last time we did the Baptist fan. So if you do 1/4, then the fan itself is 2 1/4 wide to the halfway and 2 1/4 tall. But if we use these templates with the full circle like this, the full half circle, then we need to make sure that we're planning for 4 1/2 because it's going to be 4 1/2 this way and it's 2 1/4 this way. So that's just some really important planning information that I wanted to give you right up front. And then if you look inside the paperwork guide, it tells you different sizes. For example, one of the designs we'll use is the line number 3 right here and line number 7. And those are useful because that's 1 inch and that is 2 inches. So it's really important to get familiar with the numbers that you have for your design. So I've set up a fabric that's got some markings on it already that takes advantage of our math. I know, the dreaded M word. I got in trouble last time because I can't add. But hopefully today we will do very well. So let me scoot it over so we can get it onto design 1. And I've made some little notes up here, and I'll post a picture of the designs later so that you can see what the note is up here. This says design number 1, and we're going to use all of the templates. And so we'll start with the baby. And this will be just kind of the basic Baptist van. So let me bring it up a little bit. Let me see if we can get our camera to be looking down a little bit more so that you can have a better view of the markings. Okay, so let me play with this just for a second and we'll see if we can get you a little better view. How's that? Is that a little better? We still want to make sure we can see the sewing field, but I think that might be a little better. All right, so on this template, you can see he's got the line in the center right there, and there is a pinhole. And I will tell you the truth, I don't use the pin because I want to move the template a lot. So for me, the pin kind of gets in the way. But I do use that center alignment. And if you need that extra help to hold the template in place, the pin is very valuable. You should decide what works best for you and know that you have two options, to use it or not use it. So when I start out, I'm just going to line up this line and this line on my start point, just like I would with a regular Baptist fan. We'll set our foot in place, and I'm going to start my needle right on the line. Okay, we'll try to pull up our bobbin thread there. Ooh, he's very tricky today. Alrighty, I think we got him, so we'll hold on to him, make sure he's behaving. Alright, and let's get our needle set right in that start point, right on the line, and we'll tack it off as we sew. Okay, and here we go. So we'll just sew nice and slow. Right here, this is the bottom of the design, so just cross over on your seam line or on the bottom of your design. So let me show you real quick. Right here, we're just going to travel along the bottom. So for this design, right on this outside perimeter, we'll always travel on the line. Now, the one thing that I want you to understand about these templates that's so important is when I put the next one on, I can't leave the foot right there because then the template won't fit on. So the very first thing I do before I switch is I can go ahead and I can use my spacing gauge back here, and I can sew up just enough so that the foot is touching. Okay, so you can see right there, the very edge right here of the foot is touching the green line. And I'll go ahead and I'll snip these guys to get them out of our way too. Okay, so template number 2 is the next one. And the way they count it on the paperwork, each one is a line, like an inside and an outside. So you've got this circle right here, and then 1, and then 2, and then 3, and then 4, like that. So it tells you each one, so you have to count each one as 2 different numbers. So this is our next one. So let me show you how we'll get him lined up. Same crosshair right in the middle, and same reference lines that we used before. Notice now that since we moved our foot up, this guy can lay right on there perfectly. And let me tilt him and show you one more thing. Once I do lay the template on there, this should be right on the stitch line because we're stitching a 1/4 inch away to add the next line. So this template should be sitting right on that stitch line if we're all lined up. Okay, so we'll go ahead and we'll stitch the next one. Stop in the boundary and cross over and back to the top. Okay, and so this is, you can see there's a lot of moving around of templates here, which is why I don't like to put the pin on because I'm a little lazy. Oh, what did I forget? Anybody remember? Can I get this on there yet? Ah, I got to move up. So let's go ahead and we'll get set for moving up. Okay, so the foot is touching the line. Hi, Linda Smith from El Paso. How are you? Hope you are having a good day. So we're going to get lined up right here and get ourselves lined up. Now we can do our next 1/4 inch echo and we'll cross over on that boundary line. This is kind of a delicate design, and I love how it's so pretty. And this green thread on the black is really showy. I love it. Okay, I keep forgetting, but we got to move up. So let's move up just a little bit, get our foot touching, and then we can thread this on here and get lined up. So it looks like I need one more stitch to get lined up. There we go. Okay, now if we're doing regular Baptist fan, I would want to go this way. I like to travel along the bottom. So I'm at the top, so I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm gonna get myself down to the bottom. Okay, and let's actually, we'll move up a little bit so we can start our new template right there, and that'll make it so we don't have to do that again. So we're back to one. A lot of template switching on this to get everybody lined up. So right here on the bottom, I'm lining it up, and the little crosshair is going right at the very bottom of the previous design, right? So then I can just go like this, come over. All right, and now I still need to move up that 1/4 inch. So I'll go ahead and I'll travel, oh so slowly, until the foot is touching right there. All right, so this is kind of going a little slow, but remember, we want to let everybody kind of understand the process, so we're really not trying to rush it, so to speak. So just kind of enjoy the sewing machine lullaby as we get this first little grouping on here. And then I'll play with it and I'll do some variations for you as we do some of the next ones. Oh goodness, I always forget, gotta move. There we go, get that on there, line him up. The alignments on this template are just so useful. They really help get everybody in their place. So I really appreciate that she's got such great markings on here. So just a reminder, this is the 2 1/4 spacing right here and 2 1/4 spacing right here. So as we get ready to put this last one on, we're gonna have what spacing? Who can do the math for me? I'm just kidding. It's gonna be 4 1/2. Once we get 2 of these units, that's 4 1/2. I did the math ahead of time. Just kidding. Alrighty, let's see, let's get us lined up. I think we need one more stitch right there to get lined up. Alrighty, here we go. Oh, it still didn't work for me. I still wasn't able to do it, but we'll backtrack on that last one. I'm trying to find that pattern so we don't have to backtrack, but we will for this one. I want to talk to you guys, but it's so hard for me to sew and look at the camera and find out who's there. Hi, Susan Tapp. Nice to see you also. I do like them for mini. They're also great for decorative. For little, some of the designs that I'll show you are kind of fun, and you can use them as small decorative pieces, almost like motifs. So let's go ahead, we'll make this go a little faster, and what we're gonna do this time, when we do these next couple, we'll do 2 of them. And instead of using all of the lines, we're just going to use the inside lines on each one. So we won't use, well, let's see, we need the outside to keep it the same. So we'll use the outside lines on each template, and that'll make them the same height, but it'll show you a little different pattern. So let's scoot up. Give us our 1/4 inch to get lined up here. And remember what we said, we're going to do the outer. So we have to go to the top. Okay. I know I keep bumping you guys. So my camera is really in close so that you guys can see. So I might be bumping you a little bit here and there. All right, let's see how far up we need to move so we can get lined up. I might have gone a little too far. So do you see that he's here and he's got to move over? So we'll just scoot back just a little bit, get ourselves lined up right there. Okay, and now we want to make sure the foot is touching right here. So don't start until your foot's in place. Okay, and then we'll scoot up. So let's see, next one is bigger. Perfect, get him lined up nice. Okay, and I'm going to scoot up and make sure he's touching on the top as well. So you can see that with this one, you're going to end up having quite a few transitions of your template, but still, I think it's worth it because they're really fun and I love how they look. So let's scoot over just a little bit more, see if we can get this on here. Get lined up. I think I'm overestimating here, right? Going a little too far, going crazy. All right, so this will be our last one and we'll sew back down to the bottom. So this is kind of important because this shows you that if you're going to skip, you can plan your own pattern. Okay, so there's what it looks like if we skip. And then let's do only 2 templates this time. So let's see. We're going to do the second one and the last one. So we'll scoot out to get this lined up. So I'm skipping, let me just show you. We're going to skip this one right there and move up to the next size. So that's this one. Okay, and we'll sew both sides of this template. Oh, I've got templates in my path. Okay, and now instead of going up to the next one, which would be this one, we're going to skip that one. So I'll kind of stick these over on the side. And we're going to use this really big one this time. So I'm going to scoot over a little bit so we can get the big one on. Alrighty, get everybody lined up. I think we need one more stitch maybe, right there. Okay, and now we'll sew both of these lines as well. Okay, and then let me show you that. So here's just a few different patterns. Why are these so much bigger than what you use? Is there another design that you can create with these? So Carol, they have a lot of referencing. The lines in here, they're so big inside because if you look, I can set it right on the cross. And then this part right here is a template edge also. Let me scoot you guys up just a little bit so you can see a little better. There we go. So I think that's is that your question, that this is got a lot of, you know, plastic in here. But remember that this part of the template, let me turn it just a little bit. If I line this up right on the line, then this is a template edge that I'm using, and then this is the 1/4 inch stitch away. So the reason that they're so much bigger is that this is alignment here, and then it's also template. So this is actually 2 in 1. It's much easier to have the channel than to have 2 separate pieces. And then even down here, it's got the little cutaways that you can use, and you can use that cutaway for lining up. If I was stacking my next Baptist fan over here, that little cutaway would allow me some space to line things up so that I could travel along that edge. Okay, yeah, there's lots of designs. We're going to do a couple more. So don't worry. So anyway, we'll go ahead and we'll pause on this design right here. And I'm going to move up to the top row because you saw how I did this one already. Now, when we did the Baptist fan for the Circles on Quilts, which was only not yesterday but the day before, those are much larger, and we showed you how to line them up so that they would be in a line, so that the Baptist fan would line up right in a line. So if I was doing another one, he would start right there. So I just want to show you that you don't have to do it that way. We don't have to make everybody line up. So what we're going to do is we're going to do something a little different. And I'm going to line up the top edge right there, but I'm going to start this design a little bit offset. So maybe, let's see. Let me get him lined up real quick and then I'll get you guys in there too. We kind of have to have him a little bit this way, so we have like a little partial of our previous one. So we'll start right in the seam and we'll just kind of do this part right here. Okay. And then we'll take this off and we'll have to kind of move up a little bit. All right, so when we take the next one, remember that that inner circle is your alignment. So we're lining up right here on this one, and we're lining up this inner circle right there. So that's how you can get aligned. Okay, so these will not be lined up where one is stacked right up on top of each other. These are going to be offset, and it kind of looks like your Baptist fan is kind of moving or spinning a little bit. So once again, line it up on that, on the previous one. So we got to scoot up just a little bit so we can get lined up. So I'm lining that right up on it.
So Carla's asking if you can do the same thing with the circle rulers.
Can you do this design with circle rulers? You could, you wouldn't have the spacing. These are only a 1/4 inch apart, Carla. So these are making a lot tighter spacing than you would normally find. With circles, you might be able to get a 1/2 inch apart. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely a circle, so I think you can. These do make it easier because they have all the center markings and they allow each one to stack right inside the next one. But absolutely, I'm all about using your tools. If you have some circles that you think could work for that, absolutely, go for it. So let's scoot up and get ourselves aligned in the center. So there's our alignment right there. Ooh, we're a little too far. We got to get ourselves over there. There we go. All right, and we'll travel. So this is the tallest one. Right here, this is the last one. And remember how we did the bottom row is we sewed back down to the bottom. And then we put the baby on. So now you can see that we're offsetting right there. So where we would start the next one would be lining him up at the top right there and right there. This line will register with the top of these existing clamshells, and then our little center point will be right where we left off. So this would be how we would offset the clamshell so that they're not in a line. Okay, so you can see that this is the sort of the end of one, and this one's going to end like way over here somewhere, just kind of like this. So this is a staggered clamshell, not ones that are all lined up perfectly where this lines up on top of that one. So I'll go ahead and I'll just finish this one, and then we'll go ahead and transition to a different one, to a different design. So let's make some room for travel. Come up just a little bit and get lined up. right there. So center, and these lines are lined up on the top of the bottom clamshell, the bottom Baptist fan. And then we can travel, and we'll get this one in. And travel my little 1/4 inch distance so that my foot is touching, and then we'll line up the next one. Okay, we'll scoot up again, and we'll put that last one on. So get them lined up. So right there at the center, and lining up these lines with the tops. And then to stay consistent, I would travel back down to the bottom, because then all of the tops of the Baptist fans will have that double stitching. All right, let's show you what we got there. So here you can see there's that little offset where this guy's not right on top. And you can choose the spacing, like you can do it by half of the clamshell. Like if this is 2 1/4, we can shift it over by half of that distance, and then they would be halfway offset. Or you can do it random, and then I could line up the one on top of this one, we could line up with this one, and then the one after that we could line up with this row, which will keep the offset perfectly balanced as you go up. So pretty fun. All right. So Susan Digman, there are 4 pieces in this set. So I'll just, since you just came in, I'll just show you again. These are the 4 pieces. And this one is its own little center circle. So if you look at mine, if I put this on here and I lined this up with our center mark here, right there, this would give us a fill 1/4 inch away right here. Let's see if I can show you guys. If you line the little tiny circle up on there, he would fill in that little space that is right there. So he'd stitch a 1/4 inch away from that. So you would basically have no little open space here. He would fill that in. So you would have a 1/4 inch increments all the way. All right, well, let's move on to another design. Let's see. Design number 2. Hey, honey, can you open that to design number 2 real quick? All right. So let's see. I guess we kind of did that already. I think we're going to move on. I think I put, this is design number 2 with the 1/4 inch offsets. So rather than repeat that, I think we're going to move right up to this stack design, which is really, really cool. And this is great for a border. And it's also great if you want to put additional stacks out there. So the first thing I'm going to show you is we'll start with the center, with the bottom, and then we'll build it out. So you'd line it up just like we did before, but this time we're not going to be sewing a 1/4 of the Baptist fan. We're going to sew half of it. So we'll go ahead and notice that I'm going on the outside first. It doesn't really matter. If I was going to actually do this in a quilt, I would close this bottom line anyway. So we'll come back this way. And we have to move a 1/4 inch, so we'll do that first before we put the next one on. So we're lining the foot up again, and I'll cut this guy off, get him out of our way. All right, so then the next one, we'll stick that next one on and get him lined up just the same. Remember that this part will line up right on your existing stitch line, and that's how you can tell if you are correctly positioned. So we're in the bottom boundary. We'll scoot out a 1/4 inch, just like we did before, and get ready to put the next one on. So always getting lined up on that center position. That's really the key with this template to make everything work really well. That's why the pin could be so valuable, to make sure that you're aligned perfectly, because I could be off, you know, my eyeball could be off, but if you have it on the pin, it's going to be centered perfectly in relationship to the other templates, because they all have the exact perfect measures. So that would be a good reason to use the pin, but I did tell you I'm a little bit lazy. What are the measures of your markings? So I'm not sure. Gisela Garcia was asking about the markings. So can you give me a little more information about your question? Because I don't know quite how to answer you. So I'll answer more if you can explain it a little more. Right here, this marking is my center line. It's the center of the circle. And then each one of these templates, let's see if I can show you right here. They have a measure marked on them, 2 1/4. This is the widest arc, and that 2 1/4 is the height of the arc. And then from the bottom, it's going to be twice that number. So from this side to this side, it's 4 1/2. How wide is the border? So the border is 4 1/2. Susan, that's a good question. So I did it so that this will fit perfectly in here. Yes, they could be used on a Sweet 16. In fact, mine is actually long arm thickness, so definitely they have that available. So the markings on the fabric right here with this is 4 1/2 inches wide with the marked center line. So this is 2 1/4 from edge to edge to the center, and then from the center here, 2 1/4. And then the full distance is 4 1/2. Okay, so let's go ahead. We'll do this last one and get it set up, and then I want to show you how we're going to travel to do the next one. That's part of the important part of this design, is how we get to the next piece. Ooh. Oh, you guys, I got to show you this. Here, let me turn this. What happened? Okay, this is a perfect opportunity to teach you guys about bonbon time. Okay, what's bonbon time? So when I teach this class, ruler work class, a lot of times people get really upset when they make a mistake, and then it just kind of derails their progress. So bonbon time is this little mechanism I devised to help people keep going with their process. So the ruler is in the correct place. I didn't move the ruler. I just didn't sew against it right there. So what I'm going to recommend is, for bonbon time, lift up your needle, and you can lift up your presser foot as well. You've got to loosen up the tension. And I'm literally just going to come back to where I was correctly positioned. So I can lower the foot, and I can see right there that the needle is able to go right where it needs to right there. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do right now, before I do anything else, is I'm going to stitch backwards where I came from, about 3 stitches, and then I'm going to stitch forward. So you can see there's my mistake, right? And I kind of got back on the line over here. Okay, and I'm in the boundary. And I'll go ahead and I'll just finish up this part of the design right here and get out to this outer boundary. And then I'll explain the rest of bonbon. Because we'll stop over here. Are we going to stop here? No, not yet. I want you to stay on the line, and I want you to go back up almost to the top, but not quite. Okay, about a 1/4 inch away from your center position right there. So let's talk about bonbon time now. Bonbon time means that I was able to continue sewing. So let me show you. It is a mess right there. That line is a mess. But when I'm sitting in front of the TV and I'm eating bonbons, then I can rip that out. and it's already completely restitched over, so there is no loose tail, there's no unstitched area. It was double tacked over on this side, and then it was stitched forward on this side. So from where it's incorrect to where I left off on the other side, I can rip all of that back while I'm eating bonbons in my chair, and I don't have to come back to the sewing machine at all. And the reason I devised that method is I felt like students got really frustrated, and I have a no seam ripper in my class rule. So you have to figure out a method to keep moving forward. So that's how come we have this bonbon method. So you guys gotta get bonbons now, right? And then the goal would be to eat as few bonbons as possible, right? Because we don't need all those sugary calories. Okay. So we are ready to move on with our design. So let me get it on. This little center spot is going to go right at the very top, and we're going to line up this center line right there. So if you can see, my foot is not touching yet. So I'll stitch up the line, and I'm going to start my first part of this little circle, and I'll travel on the stitch line, and I'll make the next one. Okay, and now we'll sew out our 1/4 inch, maybe one more, just in case. All right, get that next one and line him up. Same center line right there, line him up, put that center position right at the beginning of the circle, and also looking right here and making sure that your template is sort of lined right up on the edge, so that you'll have that pretty 1/4 inch. Okay, move these out. All right, so same thing, we got to move out on our 1/4 inch right there, and then we'll get lined up. Okay, and this will be our last one for this group, and you'll kind of see how everything forms with these 2 bits. Alrighty, here we go. Our chocolate and red wine. Sounds good. Here's our last one, and you can see he's just touching the boundary line of our fake border that we made, and that's because that is that 4.5 inch width, right? So this could fit very nicely into a 5 inch border. I'll flip him around. Let me cut this thread so he won't be so distracting. Alrighty, so that is what you would get. You would get, this first one is the half circle, and then the other ones are going to be a little bit more of the circle design in there. And then you would start the next one right here, and they would stack, and you can just keep filling them in. So this looks great. It's pretty busy. So you can see that if you skipped lines, like say you only did 4, the outside edges, you'd get the same height, but you'd get a wider space, and it would stitch up more quickly, and that would leave you room for some fun embellishments if you wanted to fill spaces or something like that. But really cute and fun border, and it's nice if you have the long horizontals and vertical borders, because then you can have actually the half and just fill up to the top. And the way to think about how it fills is it's multiples of 2 1/4, right? So let's say you had a border that was an even number. Well, maybe you would only fill it up to this line, which is the 2-inch height. And then you would have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So you can play with the math to get you what you want if your border was an even number. So, and you could also fudge a little, like move this one up just a tiny bit when you start him, like put your center a little bit higher than the actual center, and nobody would know because it's just going to keep going. It would just sort of stretch this a little bit. So really great ideas for you to put something in the border.
So Isabel asked, what are these on your templates? I think she's referring to the grip tape.
Isabel, please tell me if I am correct. So my super support system is relaying questions, and he said that you had a question about maybe this right here. This is called stable tape, and it is kind of like a little compression spongy stuff, right? And so this is the adhesive on the back, and I don't use it as a big strip like this. I cut it into about 1/2-inch pieces, and then the key with it is you can see that I'm holding this template like this, and then maybe sometimes like that. So the center having to be compressed, because if we're sewing around here, I want to make sure that the center is pushed down, right? So then the concept of having these in wherever your hands are. So I have this funny story that I was at a show one time, and I had this lady come up and she's like, see those grips, they don't work. And I was like, you know, you never want to make somebody feel badly, but yeah, they don't work if you don't push on them. If the grip isn't actually compressed, you know, if we want to pull on that, if I press on the grips, then it's going to stay put. But if I press right here, I can just be like, what? So definitely, really, they work great. The other reason that I like them so much is they're very cost effective. They stay on for a really long time. Mine have stayed on some of my templates more than a year, and I use my templates a lot. So I do really like them, and you could tell when they're getting worn down because right now this has a really nice nubby feel, and you can really feel the waffle on there. After you've compressed them a bunch of times and they've been used a lot, they'll start to feel flat. You won't be able to feel the texture anymore. And then you would just pull them off, clean it, and then just put a new one on, and they'll last for a good long time. So definitely want those. And I like them also because if I stack these, then the templates don't actually rest against each other, so they don't scratch each other, which is great because even though the lines are etched in on the bottom there, the template could get scratched enough where you would have trouble using the lines if you weren't careful. So I do like that they provide that little bit of cushion in there. So let's go ahead and cut this design. And I'm going to get set up over here for our next one. All right. So I want to show you kind of a fun option that you can do with this template that you might not think that you could do. So we'll kind of get ourselves set right here. And we'll just stitch up enough to get our little space in there, our little design. And we'll use just a kind of a random assortment. You can choose these. You have lots of choices. We're just going to use the 2 biggest ones. Okay? So we'll start with this one, and then I'm going to use the big one for a special detail afterwards. Looks like we have to go up a little bit further to get him on there. So if you've seen my classes before, you know that I always encourage people to practice freehand overstitching with templates because yes, templates allow you to do many things, but if you can travel with your templates by free stitching, you're going to be happier and things will be easier, and you'll also be a better free motioner if you do that. So I'm going to encourage that as often as I am teaching. Okay, so we'll go ahead and we'll go back down to the bottom here. Okay, and then we're going to have to kind of scoot out because he'll have to move down. Since we're not using the other templates, we kind of have to figure out how far we need to go because it's not just a quarter. So back here I'm lined up right on the center line, and I'm lined up right here. I'm going to make sure that the ruler foot is touching before I start my arc. Okay, and then we'll come up, and now we can come down. Okay, and we'll just do one more. That'll help give us the pattern so I can show you the design. All right, let's get this back on. And again, I'm lined up right here on the center line. The pinpoint is right at the base of the previous arc. And we'll do the inside. And we'll come up. Okay, now we're gonna have some fun with our other template. So let me show you how we're gonna do this. Let me see if I can turn it, give you guys a little better view of this. So, oh, thank you. This is my production manager's helping me again. He's so awesome, I love him. Okay, so what we're gonna do, this is the next template up in the line, and if you remember that this will line up on the existing stitch line right there. So I want to show you a really innovative way that you can use that for fun. So we'll stick him in here, and we're already, you know, in the line. So I'm just going to stitch over a 1/4 inch, just like we would normally do. And I'm going to line this up right there on the stitch line. So let me scoot that. There's the stitch line, and I'm going to line the template up right on the stitch line. And then make sure my foot is touching. And then what am I doing at this point? This is going to be a 1/4 inch away. And I'm going to stitch all this way right here. And when I get there, when the foot touches the line, I'm going to stop. Okay? So we'll do that now. So because the needle and the foot right there are a 1/4 inch apart, if I stop right there with the foot touching, I have perfect 1/4 inch spacing, right? So then I'll just scoot this over. I'm going to line it up right here, and I'll stitch until I touch with my foot at the next line, right there. And then I'll scoot this over, and I'll get him lined up right on the stitch line right there, and I can stitch back. So let's take it off, and I'll show you this fun design because I love it. It's so cool. I crack myself up, right? But it's so fun. Look at it. We were able to make this cute little echo right on there just using the templates. And so you'll be able to do that as well with any of them. Anytime you would want to do an echo on one of these existing ones, the only one that you really can't echo will be this tallest line right here, which is 2 1/4, right on this one. The arc is 2 1/4 tall. And so remember we said that that's 4 1/2 inches. So if you had a 4 1/2, you could, if you had an outside circle, maybe you could echo that one. But really a cute little design, and I love it. And you could even, once you make the bottom, if you just wanted to keep echoing, you could just put the next one and the next one, and you could echo. So you could have this as your base, and then you could have just some echoes across the top. So that would be a way to fill in a design if you wanted to do that. So that would be really fun. Okay, let's see where we are. So we have one more. And let me go ahead and cut this, tack this off. Okay, and actually the last one is my favorite. And my production engineer, he helped me figure it out last night. It required a certain amount of math, which I hate, as you guys have probably guessed already. So let me get these templates up here so we can show you what we need. I need the one size down right here. Alrighty, we'll put them up here. So, okay, you can't really see the number, unfortunately. This inner circle right here is 1. 1 inch right there. It's covered up by my stable tape. And then this is the inner part of the largest one. This is 2. So this, whatever size this is going to sew out, this inner part right here is going to sew out half of that. Could you echo with the disc? So not with these particular templates, because the channel is only so big. So the bigger echo can't even fit in there, for example. And if you use the 1/2 inch echo, why would you bother? Just sew on the other side. You know, because these are they're already that 1/2 inch apart. So this is a 1/4 inch and this is a 1/4 inch, and the spacing is already built in. So I don't think it would be very useful to try to use the echo discs with these particular templates. Kind of defeats what their whole purpose is and how they have that 1/4 inch spacing. So let's go ahead and we'll set up this design. I like to start it with the bigger one. So this is the largest template size, and it is number 7 in terms of the arcs, right? This is 8, and this inner one is number 7 if you look at the directions. Okay, so we'll start right here. So I'm going to go ahead and set my foot right there in the corner. See if I can pick up our thread. I can't because I cut it, darn it. I usually recommend in class that people don't use their scissors button on their machine, because if they do, it cuts the thread really, really tiny. Yeah, Cindy, if you had a circle that had you could play with it, absolutely. So Cindy Fitzgerald was talking about echoing with the echo guides, but she was saying to echo this outer one, with the 4.5 inch circle. So yeah, I think so. I would have to play with that. I can't give you the exact information that you might ask right now. I'd have to play with it. But we're going to sew on the inside, and notice that we're lined up right on the base, right? Okay, and then we'll just hop over, and we're just lining everything up right here. So just keep everybody lined up on the bottom. Okay, and we'll scoot over one more time. And I guess my math is a little bit off because it's not quite the correct size that I want it to be, but that's okay. We'll just play with it anyway. Okay, so what we want to do now is we'll go ahead and I'll just tie this off and I'll just cut it. Okay, right here is where we're going to line up our new start. Okay, right where you left off, that's where your center is for the next one. And we'll line up these same positions here. Okay, and then we'll be able to line up again right here. And notice how he's touching. And that should work pretty well, because remember what we said, each one of these is half. Okay. Get lined up. And we'll do that last part. He'll just have sort of half of him. Ooh, fun. Doesn't that look awesome? Kind of. This is an offset. It is like a clamshell. So a clamshell is a circle, half of a circle. And these are definitely offset clamshells. So we're going to add a little piece onto that. So remember, this is template line number 7, which is the inner of the largest template, and then we offset it. So once we made the first grouping right here, then we lined the second grouping up right there so that it would go right in the middle of the existing one. Okay, so let's go ahead and we'll scoot down to the bottom and then we'll put this other template on. Alrighty, so let's get the other one out. And I like this even more. It's so cute. I can't wait to show you. Okay, let me put my tools down so my hands are free. Scoop these off so there's no weight. Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to bump you. Apologize. Okay, here we go. Woohoo! Isn't that cute? So this is I call this one the bunny hop. Alrighty, so we'll hop on over. We'll do one like this. And then I'm gonna kind of sew over a little bit. And I'll show you on the other side a variation of it. Okay, so on this time we would line him up at the center. Right? And this is going to look different on this side. So this side will have a circle right in the middle like that. And then this other one will be different. So this one is going to cut through those center portions and make an offset circle in the middle. And so you have the options of how you want to set that up. And we'll take that out. Doesn't that look so awesome? Let's see if we can get you in a little closer so that you can see a little better. So here is where you would line it up with the center of the template right on this V as it comes in. If we line this up, then it's going to cross over like that, right? If we line it up where it's open and we have it right in the middle like that, then it's going to come into the V and it'll match up each time as we do it. It'll match up to the V. So this is option one, and then this would be a second option right there. Pretty fun. Love it. Alrighty, so many of these designs are not designs that I personally created, and they're not, you know, something that is super original that I created myself. These are designs that Leonie West does have in that packaging that is pretty fantastic, but maybe there is not enough instruction in that paper guide to help show some of how the designs are made. So part of my goal was not to create something that was completely new and innovative, but to help you see how you can look at the designs that are on that page and how you can use the relationships between the templates and get more out of them so that you can create some of those fun designs that she has. So really quick, I'm going to talk about some of our fantastic tools that we have now that we've done that. So let's go over the designs real quick. This is right here, offset Baptist fan instead of lining it up, which is what we had done previously. This is skipping, so you could create your own pattern with any of the templates. You can say, I'm going to use rows 1, 3, and 4, and then number 8, and create the gap. And then you can always fill in some fun designs in that space right there. This one is also skipping. This is just using a single template to create the design, and then also how you can echo with one step up from each of the templates. And then this one was kind of like the rainbow border, and we talked about how you can change the spacing, which would allow it to sew up more quickly if you wanted to, and that the width on this is the 4.5. You can change the width because you can narrow it out. If you use the template at 1.5, then that's going to give you a 3-inch width, and then you can put that in your 3-inch border. So definitely some options for you to play with that yourself. And then this last one makes a really, really cute border. And let me show you the picture in the guide of what that is. So here's some of the designs at the back. Let me flip it over. Let's see if we can, oh, right there. So there's the stack that we did right there. And then you can do this fill. So we may do this fill in the last space that we have. And then you can see she does the skipping right here. And then the design that we just did is this one right there. That's the one where you've got this hump, bump, bump, the bunny hop, and then the offset bunny hop, and then the circle comes right in the middle. So the goal was really to try to explain how you can do these, because these patterns are just ridiculously awesome. I love them. I think they look so amazing. And then you have the opportunity to do so many of these and many, many more with this template. And you can use them in small spaces, or, you know, yeah, you have to change the templates a lot. So if you were doing a really big quilt, that might be taking a lot of time. It might be a little frustrating, but I love how they look. So for me, it's kind of relaxing. I can just play with the designs and just keep them going. So let's do one last one. We're going to do this one right here, and we'll skip a few lines so that it'll sew out more quickly, but it'll show you how to set it up. Okay, so we'll do the center, and then we'll do one piece on each side, and then I'll show you how to put these little fills in right there. Okay. Yes, so Marla just asked, this is the packaging for the ruler. So yes, it comes with all of those designs, and then there's designs in there, and then there's some really cute pictures on the front as well. And I've sewed most of these, and they're really fun. I mean, these are great fills. So even if you had a quilt that needed some different fills, so many opportunities to use this, and these are just really cute. And this one right here, great fill. That would sew out so quickly because you're not, you know, switching templates, you're just moving across. So that one would sew out very, very fast. Okay, so we'll do the last design, and the last one is that stack. So let's see if we can, I need this, please, right there. So we'll show you how to mark this. So my awesome technical advisor is helping me again. So the circle is, we said that the base of it is 4.5. So if you have 2 of those, it's 9 inches, right? So what we'll do is we're just going to mark the center so we know where to start at 4.5 right here. And because we kind of want to keep it lined up top to bottom, I think we'll go ahead and we'll put a straight line there too. So you may want to have these kind of reference lines when you're doing yours as well. So remember that the template will go right there, so we can't put the foot right at the center. So let's go ahead and let's see, we'll skip the first one. We'll do the second set and the larger set to kind of get the idea. That'll give us some gaps in there and let you see a little bit of spacing, and we can play with that later. So put the template on first, line it up, and then you'll know where your foot has to go. Once it's in place, then you'll be able to see it. So let's get you up a little higher so we can give you that good view as always. So let's see if we can put that up a little better. Go ahead, babe. Thank you. All right, and we'll tighten that up. We'll stop moving in just a second. I hope we're not making you seasick. Okay. All right, so hopefully you can see really good now. We're lined up right here on that cross mark that we made, and we're going to sew both sides of this one. So we'll get our needle in position. And we'll scoot over. Now we're going to have to move more than 1/4 inch, of course, because we're going to put the bigger one on. So we'll move over, and then we'll kind of figure out how far we need to reset ourselves. So I'm just traveling out on that boundary, and then we'll put this one on. This will help kind of give you the idea, but it will sew up a good bit faster for you. Went a little too far. I overestimated my distance. Okay, so we'll get everybody lined up. And we do want to do both, so we'll do the inside and the outside. Okay, now this is the largest one that we're using for this, right? And we want to put a partial over here. So rather than, you know, create havoc, we're just gonna scoot him over, and then we're already ready for this without even switching the template. Right, so then we'll come back down. Okay, now he's bigger than the smaller size, right? So I don't need to move yet. I can just wait because I'm putting something that is smaller on, and then I can use that smaller size to judge how far over I need to go. Let's see. Dun, dun, dun. We have to go over quite a bit further. Dun, dun, dun. All right, thanks for bearing with me. There we go, we're all set. Let me scoot this guy over. So this is going to be the same design, but essentially a quarter just for this particular space. Now, if you wanted to do this at home, what I would do is I'd take the big one and I'd just make the whole big outer edges, hump, 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 and then I'd fill in each one and travel along the bottom until they were all filled, and then you'd be all set. So right now we need to stitch over to the other side. So I think I'll use my bigger one because I think he'll fit. And I'm going to use my trusty spacing gauge so that I can get right over there. And that'll let us kind of close out the bottom line as well, you know, get everybody cleaned up. Okay, so we want to stop right there, right at that point, and that's where that larger one is going to go back on. So I'm lined up here, and I'm lined up here. And the reason this alignment works is because we carefully marked this. This is 9, so this is 4 1/2, and this is 2 1/4, and this is 2 1/4 here. So always, you know, some math can be very useful, planner. You know I love to hate it, but not really. I mean, math is very useful, it is, especially for us quilter people. I will tell you that I'm a much better mathematician now than I ever was before. So let's scoot over, because I know we have to be in a little bit, so we'll see what we need. Alrighty, we'll get this guy centered right there. And okay, so we've got our line right now, just to show you. And now what do we do to fill in these guys? So we want to use this same size. So let's figure out where we need to go. He should be lined up right on that center right here. The center of this template is going right at that apex right there. Okay? So let's see. Alrighty, so let's see. I'm gonna have to travel and get myself up there. So you can do two things. You could cut your thread, and that's probably the easiest right there to get him set, and line this up. And then here is your template position on your template, right? So you're gonna line your needle up right in the existing thread line right there on this outer edge, and you would sew right across and up and across. Okay, now we know that the next template is quite a bit larger. So just for convenience, I'm going to go ahead and stitch up a little bit. And I'll cut this thread. So somebody just asked, and I have to apologize, I do not have a handout, guys. I do have several projects that are in the works, and handouts take a lot of time, in my opinion. In order to make them good and make them understandable, they do take quite a bit of time, and I just don't have the opportunity right at this point to do that. So I don't have a handout for this, but the video will be continuously available for you, so you'll be able to use that as a reference. So we'll tie him off and cut him. Cheryl, I'm glad you accidentally bumped a frowny vase, because I'd be really sad if you were sad. Okay, so right now we went ahead and we put the stack in there. And so who knows what's next? What's our next piece of this design, what we would want to do? So we would want to put this matching fill over here, and we want to start with the shorter side. So we would take our template that's smaller and we'd line him up first. So you'd line him up right on the baseline and right on the center line right there. And then we can position the ruler. So I like to get him right in the stitch line, and we'll tack it off. Oh, he's got a little thread bump there. Oh well. Right? Then we take this off. Let's get this thread out of here. He's irritating me. All right, and then we would sew up, because we need a little bit of room in order to put that larger template on. Alrighty, perfect. We were really close. We estimated well right there. So get him right in the center. Make sure the foot is touching. Okay. And I'm going to show you a little trick here. If I wanted to go and just start the next one, if I'm right here at the top, I can even just do this. I can put this on and I can line it up right like that. You're lining up this with the top of the stitch line here and that one, and this on the center line, and look where I'm at already. 1 or 2 stitches and I'm already into my next design right there. So then you have the ability to go ahead and stack these right up, and this would make a very cool fill right there. So you can just see how they could stack right up on top of each other, and I would travel out here to put the next set of circles on. So I would just travel a little ways out like this, and then this guy would be ready to go on, and I would line him up just the same. Center line, line this line up with the existing circle out here, and then you're ready to stitch. And then of course these would be continuous over here. You can just set that on the outside, get everybody lined up, and you'd be ready to stitch this arc right here. So you can see that that kind of has a little bit of continuity there where you can continue making pieces without cutting your threads, but there is a little bit of cutting right in here where you'd have to reset stuff right on the inset circles right there. But you can see, doesn't that look awesome? What a cool design. I just think this looks so awesome. And for me, what I would want to do, we'll put a little embellishment in here since we said we were going to, because that was part of the promotion for this one. So let me go ahead and we'll scoot down. So if you are, you know, not afraid of free motioning, you can put a little something in here. And I think, you know, one of the things that you could do is if you had a little circle that would fit into the channel that you made, you could put little circles in there. but that could be something really, really fun, and you could embellish your spaces like that, you know, something like that. Pretty cool. Love it. Okay, so let's talk about some other stuff really quick. Let me move this. And I will, I'll finish up these designs. It may take a day or so, but I will go ahead and I will finish them and post them, and I'll try to put some little notes on them. But I definitely will not have a full handout available. Sorry about that. Okay, so today I was using my Westalee free motion glider. So the free motion glider has just the circle opening, so I always want to give some like care instructions for this. I love this tool. It is fantastic. So if it's dirty, I can pull on it, you know, and it doesn't go anywhere. It would just stay right in place. And if it's dirty, it still stays in place, even if it's pretty linty, like if, you know, you can feel that it has lint on it, but it will still stay in place, which is why this one is great for me, because I travel a lot and I don't always have a resource to wash it or, you know, have it ready right at a moment's notice. So I really love it. It has a paper backing that comes with it in a roll. And so that would allow you to protect it when you're traveling, keep it in the roll. And then just wash it with cold water and just let it air dry, and then it's ready to use. The one thing I will tell you is please don't ever use it with your feed dogs in the up position, because what will happen is the feed dogs will bite into it and damage this area if you do that. So this is designed to be used with feed dogs down. If you want to use something with feed dogs up, we have the So Steady green grid glider, which is 12 by 20, or we have a smaller one that is 11 by 14, which is the orange one, and that fits a little bit narrower throat. So those ones both can be used with the feed dogs completely exposed, and they work really well also. So these are great tools, and having the glider, it covers up any gap here between the machine, right? If there's any little gap right there, it covers that up. It provides a very easy movement of the fabric. So you can see that, you know, it just definitely will go really, really easily, which I love. And so I do use that. I do think it makes a really big difference. And then I'm going to go ahead and pull this off, and I'm going to show you my safety tip when I do that. So I like to roll it like this under the foot. Never, never, never take your ruler foot off and do this, because I have a student, she just picked up her thing like this, and she had taken her foot off to put it away, and she had the needle exposed, and she cut her glider right in half, and it was brand new. So don't do that. Never, never take your foot off. Leave your foot on. It's going to protect it, and it's going to let this roll right under there without any problem, right? Okay, so we're going to take that off. And what do you see that I have on my fabulous machine? Can you guys see what that is? Let's go out just a little bit so you can see a better view of it. This is my So Steady Wish table, and I love it so much. It is completely awesome. It has our blue drawer, and it has this circle sewing tool. And I think you guys have all seen that. Donnell's done quite a few lives using different circle sewing techniques, and it fits in here, right? So you can just put this bracket in there, and you could peg your fabric on this little pin, and the fabric will spin around and make absolutely beautiful designs using any of your decorative stitches, which is really, really fun. So you can basically create your own decorative fabric to sew into your quilt with the Circles on Quilts, and do many other fun activities with that. So you get this fabulous organizer drawer, you get the circle sewing tools. It's got quite a few different legs, and this leg is movable, so I can position it if I need support in a different area, but I like that support right there in front, so that's why he's right there for me. And you can see that the edges here on the So Steady Wish table, they're beveled on every side. And the reason I'm highlighting this is This is Sew Steady's Mother's Day special, and they also have a large table special as well. So they've asked me to kind of give a pump to it. So I love my table. I would not be without it. And here's my funny story about this. Okay, when I was a young married and I had just 2 kids, I remember going to Oklahoma and going to my local quilt shop now in Cache, Oklahoma, and convincing my husband I had to have this Sew Steady table because I was sewing on the dining room table. And it was $230 for the large Sew Steady table that was plain. And I still remember that because it felt like $1 million at the time. You know, I'm like, oh, please. And, you know, my husband, he's great. He never says no or whatever. But, you know, when your budget is that tight, you know, maybe that wasn't a necessity. And I got it. And I used it for something like, I don't know, 15 years or something like that. And then we broke it when we moved to our last military move. And I replaced it with the nicer table. And it was cheaper than my original table by far. So that was pretty fun and interesting. So they're very durable, they last a long time. And the other thing I recommend, if you get that for somebody, please get them the polish kit in addition, because the polish kit is so awesome. And if you're out there and maybe you lost a leg and you can't use your fantastic, fabulous table, just contact us. We have legs, we can help you. We want you to be a happy sewer. So anyway, please check out the sewsteady.com website for more information about those templates and some great picture examples of them, and I'll post mine. And then also to see the specials that they have. So the Sew Steady tables are all custom orders, which means that they do take some time to be created. So if you'd like to have them by a certain time, sooner order is better. Okay, so I'm going to just look really quick, and I'm going to make sure that I didn't miss any important questions so that I can make sure I answer for some people. Sandra Barella, my coworker and good friend, is on, and Mary Hyatt is still stalking me, and she's been sick, so I hope she's feeling better today. And let's see. Dun, dun, dun.
So you had already been all the way back there?
Okay.
Let's go back to the clamshells and the 4.5-inch circle.
All right. Production assistant is helping me. Very cool. Very cool looking. Thank you. Sweet design. I love it. Thank you, Regina. I'm glad you liked the class. And Opal, thank you also. Di Werner, I'm going to give her a shout out because she has been helping me as participant and kind of looking over my book. So I've met her through our Sew Steady website, and then I got to meet her in California when I was teaching, and she came out as being a class member, and she's been a great help to me. So I want to thank her for her time and her effort. And Carol should be getting her templates pretty soon, Carol Hofstetter, so I'm excited for her. And let's see, so Marla, we answered your questions about the images and whether or not those come with the directions, and they do. And then let's see. Oh, Vicky, you need to get your set back, especially if she's not using them, right? Different designs. Thank you, Colleen. I'm glad you like the designs. And Linda Murphy's asking, do the templates work well with a high shank machine? So Linda, you'll notice that they work very well because my machine is a high shank machine. So definitely they work great on the high shank machine as well as on the low shank machine. Lois, I'm glad that I changed your mind because they're really fun. They have a lot of different options. So we talked about the instructions not available. Hello from Springfield, Oregon, Miss Judy. Let's see. And okay, love these videos, love the designs. So I want to address Marge Curtin asked, could Sew Steady's smallest ribbon candy probably would fit? So Marge, let me show you why that won't work. That is a really good suggestion, but there is an important thing to notice about what we were doing that would make it difficult. So it's not a size issue, but we have to change the size of this to fit. And what do I mean by that? the inside curve is shorter than the outside curve. So Sew Steady's ribbon candy, Donna Macaulay has beautiful ribbon candy that she has created that is really, really cute, but it is designed to go in a straight line, and the top and the bottom of the ribbon candy are exactly the same size. Here, we have to make a skinny ribbon on the inside and a fatter ribbon on the outside. And that's important because we have to travel further on this side than we do on this side. So it wouldn't be really a good fit to use that ribbon candy for this type of design. And that's unfortunate. And right now there is no template that would allow you to mimic this at this point. So let's see. Okay, so I'll add one last embellishment that maybe would be a little easier. And then we'll close out for the day. So we'll use this space right here. Oh, I think I'm upside down. I kind of am. Here, we'll get a little better view on this side. I think the needle shows up. All right, so you can just do kind of an S, and then you can make your S wider, and then an S, and then wider, and then an S. And then this is okay if it's wonky. You know, it's a little bit more freeform because you're just kind of changing the direction as you go. So there you go. It's a little wonkier, but then it doesn't have to be so precise. Okay? So the name of this set is the Miniature Baptist Fan Set, and it's a 4-piece set by Leonie West. And I hope that you will love it and enjoy it, and you can go ahead and I will post some of these designs. And remember, bonbon time is your friend, so I'll be eating bonbons tonight. Maybe I should mess up more so I could have more bonbons. But thank you guys so much for your time, and I hope you have a wonderful day and a happy holiday, happy weekend. Please take care of yourselves and help your neighbors as you can. Thank you very much, guys. Bye-bye.